Hey, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're plugging into a completely different universe. Forget everything we've talked about with antennas and over-the-air signals, because today, it's all about the unique world of cable television, or CATV. This is a closed system with its own rules, its own language, and its own special kinds of problems. Let's get into it. All right, so this is part 6 of our 10-part journey into RF testing with a spectrum analyzer. We've laid a lot of the groundwork, and now we get to apply all that knowledge to this very specific, kind of weird, wired world of cable systems. So here's what's on tap. First up, we're going to talk about why cable is this closed world and what that really means. Then we'll get into the absolute bedrock measurements: levels, noise, and CNR. After that, we'll go on a little hunt for the usual suspects that mess up your signal. Then we'll get super precise on measuring modern digital channels. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with some crucial field tips and, you guessed it, safety. Okay, let's kick things off with the most fundamental idea you have to grasp here. Cable TV operates in what we call a closed RF environment. And believe me, that changes absolutely everything about how we take our measurements. Think of it like this, over-the-air broadcasting, that's like thousands of different cars on public roads, all traveling through the open air. But cable TV, that's a whole different ballgame. It's like a perfectly sealed private superhighway just for signals. We're talking hundreds of channels all bundled together and sent down one single pipe. We're not using antennas, we're plugging right in. And this is a big one, you gotta remember this. The whole system is built around 75 ohms, not the 50 ohms we're used to. And because we're in this 75 ohm universe, our units have to change too. We don't talk in dBm as much, we talk in dBmV. This is the official language of cable. It stands for decibels referenced to 1 millivolt. Now, most modern analyzers can switch right over to this setting, but it's so important to make sure your brain and your analyzer are switched over to that 75 ohm mindset. And man, that coaxial highway is just jam-packed with traffic. In the downstream path, headed to the customer, you've got your video and data. You might see some old-school analog channels, but mostly you'll find modern digital video, which honestly just looks like a block of noise. And of course, the DOCSIS channels that bring us our glorious high-speed internet. Then there's the upstream path, coming back from the customer. This little slice of spectrum is just notorious for being a magnet for noise leaking in from the outside world. So, with all that going on, how in the world do we figure out if the system is healthy? Well, it all comes back to the basics, the absolute foundations of system health, nailing your signal levels and your noise measurements. Okay, so measuring this stuff is a really systematic process. You just follow the steps. First things first, you gotta tell your analyzer it's in the cable world. Set that input to 75 ohms and change your units to dBmV. For any of those old analog channels you might still see, it's super easy. Just pop a marker right on the video carrier. But for the modern digital stuff, you have to use the channel power function, which adds up all the energy across the whole channel. And finally, you find a quiet, empty spot to measure that underlying noise floor. Okay, so you'll see most field techs carrying a dedicated meter, kind of like this one. And hey, they're great for getting a quick thumbs up or thumbs down on the signal level. But here's why a spectrum analyzer is a total game changer. It doesn't just give you a number, it gives you the whole picture. You can see the shape of the signal, you can see the noise floor underneath it, and you can spot nasty interference that a simple meter would be completely blind to. And that right there leads us to probably the single most important metric in the cable world: carrier-to-noise ratio, or CNR. It's just the difference, measured in dB, between how strong your signal is and how loud the background noise is. Basically, just think of it as signal to noise, but for a cable plant. It's simple. The bigger the gap between your signal and the noise, the better. High CNR? Awesome. Low CNR? You've got problems. Now, what's interesting is that not all signals are created equal when it comes to noise. Those old analog TV pictures, they needed a super clean signal. We're talking a CNR of at least 45 dB. Otherwise, you'd see that fuzzy snow all over the screen. Digital signals, on the other hand, are tougher. They've got error correction and all that magic, so they can usually get by with a CNR down around 35 dB. But if you drop below that, you're going to get pixelation, frozen pictures, and some very unhappy customers calling in. All right, so we know what good looks like. Now for the fun part. Let's go hunting for the bad guys, the villains of the cable plant. These are the common issues that technicians spend their days tracking down. Okay, two of the most common internal troublemakers you'll run into are called CTB and CSO. They're both just different flavors of distortion, and they're caused by your amplifiers getting pushed too hard or just starting to fail. Basically, when you cram hundreds of channels into an amp, they can start to mix together and create garbage. CTB shows up right on top of your channels, and CSO pops up in between them. If you see either of these patterns pop up on your screen, it's a huge red flag that you've got a sick amplifier somewhere in the line. All right, the other big bad guy is called ingress. Remember our sealed highway analogy? Well, ingress is what happens when a crack forms in the road. It's outside interference, like shortwave or CB radio, leaking into your system through a bad connector or a damaged cable. And this is what it looks like on the analyzer. These random signals just popping up out of nowhere, right where they shouldn't be. It's a constant battle to keep the system sealed. But what about those really annoying problems? The ones that come and go? How do you catch those? This, my friends, is where zero span mode becomes your absolute superpower. Instead of sweeping across frequencies, you park the analyzer on one frequency and just watch the amplitude over time. You're basically turning your fancy spectrum analyzer into a really sensitive receiver. It is perfect for catching those quick, intermittent noise bursts that you totally miss in a normal sweep. Okay, let's circle back and really zero in on measuring those modern digital signals. We've already seen they look like a big block of noise, not a nice, clean carrier. So it makes sense that you can't measure them the same way, right? You need a specific technique to get it right. The number you have to burn into your brain is 6 megahertz. That's the standard width of a cable channel here in North America. To get a true, accurate power reading for a digital signal, you absolutely have to measure the total integrated power across that entire 6 megahertz chunk. If you just put a marker on the peak, your measurement is going to be totally, completely wrong. So, you want to get it right every single time? Here's your mental checklist. 1. Make sure that measurement window is lined up perfectly with the edges of the channel. 2. Use the right resolution bandwidth. Somewhere between 100 and 300 kilohertz is usually the sweet spot. 3. Don't forget to factor in any loss from splitters or test points you're plugged into. And 4. Compare your number to what the system design says it should be. That's how you know if things are really balanced. Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to wrap up with some really practical advice that's not just about getting good measurements, but about working like a pro and, most importantly, staying safe out there. These are the little things that separate the pros from the amateurs. Don't cheap out on connectors and adapters. Seriously, bad connections are the source of so many problems. See an open port on a splitter? That's a wide open door yelling, "Come on in," to interference. Always cap it with a 75 ohm terminator. If you need to check a live line without taking a customer down, a directional coupler is the right tool for the job. And finally, trust your gear, but verify it. Check its calibration every once in a while to make sure your measurements are legit.
And now for probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire explainer, please listen up. That simple-looking coax cable is not just carrying your TV and internet signals. It's very often carrying AC voltage, somewhere between 30 and 90 volts, to power the amplifiers out on the line. That voltage will fry the front end of your very expensive spectrum analyzer in a heartbeat. And way more importantly, it can give you a really nasty jolt. Be careful. Always check there's power on a line before you plug in. No exceptions.
Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground today, from the whole closed system idea to measuring CNR and hunting down interference. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Next time you're faced with a cable problem, with all this new info in your toolkit, what's the very first thing you're going to check? Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.